Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a 10Q filing that's like a choose your own adventure, except instead of dragons and wizards, we have financial statements and legal jargon. Oh boy, let's get into it. Are you excited? This report gives us a peek into how Graham Alternative Investment Fund 2 LLC and its core macro portfolio are doing. We will look at how they invest, how they make money, and what risks they face. We will see the good, the bad, and ugly in plain English, how they make money, and what risks they face. We will see the good, the bad, and ugly in plain English. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Join us. First, let's see who we are dealing with. This is Graham Alternative Investment Fund 2 LLC's core macro portfolio. They're registered as a commodity pool, which means they're overseen by the US Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. It's like having a financial watchdog making sure they play by the rules. The fund's based in Rowayton, Connecticut, and their phone number is there if you need to call them. Although, I doubt they're taking calls from random viewers. It also tells us this is a quarterly report specifically for the period ended March 31, 2025. As of May 1, 2025, there were around 200,927 units of the core macro portfolio outstanding. This is a snapshot of how many units investors hold. Let's jump into the numbers. These financial statements are for both the fund itself and one of its arms, Graham Alternative Investment Limited, to give us a complete picture. This is a snapshot of what the fund owns assets and what it owes liabilities as of a specific date. Here's a big one. Their investment in Graham Alternative Investment Trading LLC at fair value. As of March 31, 2025, this was about $36.4 million. Fair value basically means what it could be sold for in the market. It was slightly higher than the $35.55 million at the end of the previous year. That means that most of the fund's value is in that investment and it grew a little bit during the quarter. Looking at the other side of the balance sheet, we see subsidies received in advance, which is the money that was received for a future investment. It was about $115,000 to $55,000. This simply means less people signed up to invest in advance. The fund offers different classes of units for investors. Class 0 units account for about $21 total members' capital, what the investors own. Then you have Class 2 units, Class 3A units, and Class 3B units, and their prices are different. Altogether, the total members' capital was $36.4 million. Now let's look at the income statement or profit and loss statement, where we can see how profitable the fund was over a period of time. This time is the first 3 months of 2025. The fund had a net realized gain on investments of $1.118 million. That means that some investments the fund had performed really well, but it also has a net decrease in unrealized appreciation on investments of about $217,000. This means that some investments also did not perform well, and after removing the brokerage commissions and fees, the net gain allocated from the investment was around $936,000. It's important to note that the fund needs to pay advisory fees and other expenses. In the expenses side, the advisory fees were $145,770. It also had to pay sponsor fees, professional fees, and other fees. Overall, that brings the total expenses to $322,769. This all lead to a net income of $984,847, almost $1 million for the quarter. It shows that it was a profitable quarter. Last year, during this same period, the net income was $2.9 million. Even though this quarter was profitable, last year did much better. Now, let's check the cash flow statement, which helps us understand how the fund is managing its cash. The net cash provided by operating activities was $1.4 million. This essentially means from the main activities like trading, the fund made $1.4 million. This essentially means from the main activities like trading, the fund made $0.5 million, meaning less money coming into the fund. The cash and cash equivalents at the end of the period was $150. It shows a decrease compared to the last year, which was $164,000, meaning the fund had less money in hand. The fund's goal is to make money long term by trading in various markets like futures, currencies, and derivatives, investing in Graham Alternative Investment Trading LLC, which itself invests in master funds managed by Graham Capital Management. They also say that the fund might do trades on virtual currencies. The fund values its investments based on fair value, and This is like trying to figure out what something is actually worth in the current market. It uses a 3-level system to classify the reliability of these values. The fund's investment in Gate has been valued at net asset value using the practical expedient. The main risk is that global economic conditions could mess with their operations. Things like wars, terrorist attacks, or even health epidemics can make markets really jumpy. Looking at ratios to average members' capital and total return, they show the fund performance. For example, the total return after the incentive allocation for Class 0 was 2.88% compared to 8.91% from last year. It means less profit this year. From April to mid-May 2025, subscriptions were around $0.20, $2 million, and there were no redemptions. This is another recent update that's not yet reflected in the main financial statements. Now it's Graham Alternative Investment Trading LLC's turn. So let's analyze them. Their investment in Graham Cash Assets LLC at fair value was $62.9 million. This shows they put a lot of their eggs in the cash basket. Saturnite total assets was about $69.7 million. It increased a little compared to December 31, 2021. 2024 end $21 at. Looking at their liabilities, they have $28,866 in accrued professional fees. Also, remember when we said they had an investment in Graham Cash Assets LLC. Their investment was worth about 91% of the members' capital. It shows that most of the fund's capital is tied to that asset. The net realized gain on investments was $2.22 million. But they had a decrease in unrealized depreciation on investments of 432, bringing the total profit to $1.7 million profit. After that, the investment income, subtracting expenses and factoring in the incentive allocation, you have a net income available for pro rata allocation to all members was $1,008 million. Incentive allocation, you have a net income available for pro rata allocation to all members was $1,863,035. Interest paid was around $3,759. Graham Alternative Investment Trading LLC. Again, invests in a couple of other funds to try and make money. They are called master funds. In the normal course of business, the master funds utilize derivative financial instruments in connection with their trading activities. These are options, futures, and swaps, which are all risky. The returns can be high, but can also result in a total loss. Therefore, they are subject to additional risks. To offset this a bit, the fund does mention that the master funds have established initial credit approval, credit limits, and collateral requirements, and may reduce their exposure to any counterparties they deem necessary. ASU 2023-7 was effective for fiscal years beginning after December 15, 2020, and interim periods in fiscal years beginning after December 15, 2024 with early adoption permitted. From April 1, 2025, subscriptions of approximately 0.2 million and no redemptions. Now, looking at these results more broadly, Graham Alternative Investment Fund 2 LLC Core Macro Play, Graham Alternative Investment Fund 2 LLC Core Macro Portfolio overall did pretty well this quarter considering the volatile markets. From interest rates to commodities to foreign exchange, all of those are available for them to invest in and profit from. But it also highlights some weaknesses. They were less profitable this quarter versus last quarter, showing their vulnerability to things outside of their control. However, the use of derivatives, options, futures, etc. is always a risk and can potentially amplify both gains and losses. If you are someone with average from interest rates to commodities to foreign exchange, all of those are available for them to invest in and profit from, but it also highlights some weaknesses. They were less profitable this quarter versus last quarter, showing their vulnerability to things outside of their control. However, the use of derivatives, options, futures, etc. is always a risk. Alright, that's our breakdown of this latest filing of Graham Alternative Investment Fund. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.